Hello YouTube land, and thank you for joining me for another edition of Raw Ups and Downs, where we do go through WWE's premiere show and we give the good bits an up like it's a lovable dog, and we give the down bits a good kicking because that's what it deserves. My name is Simon Miller from What Culture, and isn't it amazing how so many people on the internet will throw shade at you and get mad and yet they still watch your videos? It's almost like they can't get enough. Anyway, let's do this. A somber up to start, because before any wrestling action did take place, the entire company did come out on the ramp and they paid their respects for all the terrible things that recently happened in Las Vegas. It seems silly not to mention this because not only did WWE do the right thing, but it also puts everything else into perspective. And of course, everyone here at What Culture also sends our thoughts and prayers to anybody who was affected by that tragedy. Which moves us on to the more nonsense part of the show, and yes, we got Braun Strowman versus Seth Rollins. It was a fun little match, it was entertaining. Getting it up. Braun won, but it was the fallout from all of this which we need to focus on, because Braun continued to beat up Rollins, which brought out Ambrose, and he did alright for a while, but this is the monster among men we're talking about, and he eventually started beating up Ambrose too. It got even worse for the tag champs, because then the Bar came out because they saw an opportunity and they started to whoop all the behind, but that's more interesting for reasons we'll get to later. But all in all, a great start to the show, and it was a bit different because it wasn't just a 20-minute promo, and that does get really boring sometimes. And I'm going to give what came next an up, but it's only a very, very close up, because good grief, does WWE make it hard sometimes. But yes, this next bit is an up. Why? Because I like everything going on between Alexa Bliss and Mickie James. What I don't like is the fact that WWE has decided, oh well, Mickie James is really old, even though she's in her late 30s, and here, on this night, they even made a joke that she had a weak bladder, and Alexa Bliss had bought Mickie James a present that was like an adult nappy, and that's just not funny, and it's not needed, and it's not necessary. That aside, their back and forth does remain good, and the match that Mickie James went on to have with Nia Jax was also pretty good, and it ended with Mickie James winning via DQ, because Alexa Bliss involved. With the story here was that, oh my gosh, Mickie almost had Nia Jax beat, and that was cool. That was good. Now, why Nia and Alexa are all of a sudden friends again, we're never going to know, because apparently nobody in WWE thinks that's information they should pass across to us, the fans. But that aside, I'm just glad Mickie James is being used, because Mickie James is really good. I doubt she'll win the title, but still, there's worse ideas than this. A lot worse ideas. And then from nowhere, we did see Titus O'Neil return to the ring, and he just lost to Elias in about 3 minutes, and yes, there's a down. Now, I'm not saying that Titus is a massive wrestling star or anything, or that his return to the ring should be made into a huge deal, but couldn't we have done it more than this? Couldn't we have built it up just a little bit, as opposed to just throw him back in there and have him lose like that? It's ridiculous. There's kind of a cool story here with the Titus brand and the Drifter, especially because this match between the Drifter and Titus O'Neil focused on Elias tempting Apollo Crews. He was all like, oh, come on, hit me, Apollo Crews. But Apollo Crews was like, no, I'm like the quintessential babyface, I don't do that. I'm just going to watch on from afar. Instead, Elias just won, and that was that, and that's fine. But where do you go from here? Round and round in circles, that's where, and man, my board of circles. And given that I'm utterly perplexed as to what is happening between Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt, well, that's getting it down too. This week we had Bray Wyatt on the Titantron talking nonsense, then Finn Balor came out and basically said, look, I beat this schmo loads, why on earth would I fight him again? And then Bray Wyatt reappeared and he hinted he had a new persona, and it's something to do with Sister Abigail. Now here's the thing, each and every week these segments get even more convoluted, and now I think I'm supposed to expect to see Sister Abigail. But I don't know, and that's the problem. I have no idea what's going on, and I never have any idea what I'm meant to take away from these. Let's say Sister Abigail does turn up. She's not taking on Balor, so what's the point? And if she does arrive, and then Bray loses like he always loses, then you've just taken that idea and you flushed it down the toilet, because her debut helped Wyatt not one bit. And if Bray does win, that means we're going to have to suffer through another fight between these two, and I just don't want to see it anymore. I'm done with this. It's been going on since I was like 8 years old, and now I'm really old. Just end it and move on, please. So it's a down. Obviously, I mean, I said that, but yes, it's a big down. Now, I am going to give what came next an up, even though it was really weird. But yeah, the match between Matt Hardy and Jason Jordan versus the Good Brothers, well, it was just nice, really. So it gets an up. Anderson and Gallows actually won, which was a surprise in itself, although I have no idea why Jason Jordan all of a sudden is just the new Jeff Hardy, especially because a few weeks ago, he was embroiled in the IC title program, but then Roman Reigns just turned up and went, nah, mate, I'm in it now. It was a solid battle and I did have fun, Just strange though. Really strange. Quick up for the Dana Warrior segment, which did highlight breast cancer and its survivors. It's just really important stuff. So yeah, it's an up. I also very much enjoyed all the stuff between Roman Reigns and The Miz, especially because it tied into the bigger picture, and that's the biggest up of the night. It started with an interview where Roman did acknowledge that his former Shield buddies had been having some trouble as of late, and this continued onwards when the Miztourage made their way to the ring, and they did so through the crowd like the Shield. Roman broke that up by going ballistic on their asses. Admittedly, that does sound weird. And the two had a really good match, and guess how it ended? The Miz got DQ'd when Sheamus and Cesaro ran down, and they all started to put the boots to Reigns. And then the Miz, Sheamus and Cesaro, well, you know what they did. They did the Shield salute, and you know where all this is headed. Now, while it does seem like someone backstage has looked at Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel and said, we can't put them in this program, which is actually a shame because I like to see wrestlers get built up as opposed to just knocked back down, Sheamus and Cesaro are obviously a better fit because they're more over. Forget all that though, because this was the night where WWE basically said, yes, at TLC this year, you're gonna see a proper Shield reunion, and we've all wanted that, so that's really good. Raw did end too with Reigns, Ambrose, and Rollins all silently acknowledging each other, and it was really cool. We know where this is going. It was just a lot of fun, and it's happy days. I'm ready to see them come back together. What an up. It's a down for the match between Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Alicia Fox and Emma though, because it just felt thrown together out of nowhere, that's getting it down. The idea here seems to be that Emma is going to go through tag team partner after tag team partner to try and prove to Sasha Banks and Bayley that it was actually Emma that started the women's revolution. But here's the thing, I don't care. Can't we just have good stories and good matches with the women? Isn't that enough? I mean, this will probably be alright, because you'd imagine the culmination is that Sasha turns on Bayley or Bayley turns on Sasha, or whatever they want to do, and that's been long overdue. But still, it feels pointless, and it feels like it's just thrown into the mix, because we've got to throw something into the mix, and I don't like that. As stupid as it all is as well, I really like what WWE is doing with the Cruiserweight division at the moment, especially on Raw. That's getting it up. For starters, Enzo is now in a much more believable role than he ever has been. He does come across like a bit of a dick, and to be honest, he always came across like a bit of a dick, and now he's basically feuding with the entire 205 Live roster, and that just works. It's just really interesting. It's a good story, it's progressing each week, it's getting time. That's 2 thumbs up. And can you believe it? WWE finally did what I've been asking for yonks, and they put Kalisto in the Cruiserweight division. That makes all the sense in the world, because before this, he was literally doing nothing. He's really talented, so just use him and use him over there. The idea here is everybody else in the Cruiserweight has cost themselves a shot at the title because they did beat the crap out of Enzo, but that doesn't count for Kalisto, so now we can have the Kalisto versus Enzo feud, and it doesn't really light me up, but still, better than nothing. Now this is a bit dumb, but I don't care because it ticks all the right boxes, and that's alright by me, and it actually is making me think maybe I should watch 205 Live. That is what it's all about. And that was Raw, and again, a lot of it was a bit just trying to push the dots together because we got a long time before TLC, but all this Shield reunion stuff is great. It's just a magic in the air when they continue to tease it, and you know the crowd that night is gonna love it, so we can't complain, and it was a fun show. Now don't forget to leave a comment below and let us know what you thought about last night's Raw. Like, share and subscribe. Go and tell What Culture on Twitter at WhatCultureWWE, and go visit WhatCulture.com to read articles with your eyes. My name is Simon Miller from What Culture. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back tomorrow to up those SmackDown downs. Doesn't work. You change the name, WWE. SmackDown in a show called Ups and Downs, you make me sound like a fool.